Hello and good morning. Can we still say good morning? I guess so. Yeah. I heard the noise. It's okay? Ah, perfect. Thanks. Welcome to this lightning talk. It's about lowering barriers for open source events or events at all. And I would like to talk about it because I'm an attendee of the summit since 2013. Is everything okay? Okay. I have attended, that's my 10th summit in a row now, so I have been traveling around the world a lot for the OpenStack Summit, and I have seen different places and different venues. And of course I collected different experiences with being a wheelchair user on events like that, and I also attended a lot of other open source events. So this is for both like visitors and people who want to organize talks and events like that, because I would like to make people aware about probable issues and what you probably would see on an event like that. So one thing I see a lot often is that people think like a building says I'm accessible, then they're done. Unfortunately, this is not always the case because we have it over here. There's a third floor up there, and this third floor is only reachable by one elevator. That one is broken right now. So for me, it's basically not easy to get to the third floor right now, except there is a back entrance elevator which I may use if I ask the right people. But if that happens in an environment where we don't have a second one, I would be basically not able to get there. Same happens what is if I'm up there and the elevator stops working and then there's probably something like an emergency. Nobody thinks about that because we only won't have nice events and no emergencies. But usually this is a huge problem because many of those buildings are not well prepared for emergencies with handicapped people at all. They have plans, but usually they don't know how to handle that in an emergency situation because not all people are well trained on that. Another thing is a handicap isn't the same as a handicap. So if I'm a wheelchair driver, I can only speak for myself. Other wheelchair drivers maybe have different issues than I have. As you may have seen, I'm up here on the stage because I can walk a little. Other ones can't. They have no idea how to get up a stage with 2 steps if not someone is carrying them. And usually you don't bring people to carry you up the stage. So if you have an event like that, you need to prepare that people which have some difficulties are also able to attend even as a presenter. And also it's not about just the event space, because this is a nice building which is in a good shape, but what about the surrounding area? When I'm coming from a hotel and there's only a cobblestone way from the hotel back to the event, that's usually the worst case can happen for me. Or for Tokyo, the event space was uphill. It was so steep that I was not able to get there by myself. So I basically need to call a cab each time I want to get from the hotel back to the venue. And what also is important, if you have like support for handicapped people or for any disabilities, just show it. Like make people aware that you care, that you have people responsible for that you can contact them, ask them questions, show them what your needs are, and they will take care for you. Because usually you just see the websites of cool events and you don't know how to contact them in case like I have a special need, how to address. It's much more easy to address a food allergy today than just getting into the venue for a wheelchair driver. So anyone familiar with Kilroy? Because this is how I look usually like when I get to a counter, because counters are that high. Okay, the nose doesn't fit for me, but you get the point. Yeah? So if you have counters that high, for me, it's hard to talk to people because it's simply a sound barrier too. So I talk against the wall and they were like, what? So usually they just come around the corner, which is nice and fine, but it makes it just unnecessarily complicated. So lower counters are not really hard to achieve, but they make a huge difference. There was one in Sydney, for example. They had a special counter just for wheelchair users, and it was perfect. If you were sitting in an audience like that, take a seat off for people in a wheelchair because we want to participate in the audience and not sit aside. So there are wheelchair pictures from myself, from other keynote speeches at Openstack Summit, for example, where I'm sitting in the middle of a gangway just because there was no place for a wheelchair driver. They take care of that right now. So they have people aware where I sit usually, so they take care of me, they pick me up when I want to go to the keynotes and bring me direct to my spot, like press and stuff, which is nice. But people tend to forget about it. Just leave out a couple of seats somewhere. It should not be the first row maybe, but at least a good spot to see, because if you have sitting in the backwards and you have like 10 people up high sitting in front of you, you don't see anything. Uh-oh. No capes is not right. I'm talking about carpets. Carpets are worse for wheelchair drivers. This space here has nice carpets, and you need them because in an area like that, it's an open area. If you would remove it, it would make a much more crowdy and noisy space because it's all reflect sounds. So that's why we have carpets. But in the last summit here in Vancouver, the marketplace was the worst experience I ever had. Why? There's carpet, which is bad for me, but it was acceptable. But then they put some grass on top to make it look nice. So it makes it worse. And then they noticed, oh, if we all put it in grass, the people don't know where to walk. So we put another layer on top of the grass for the walking areas. So basically, whenever I moved, I immediately stopped. So without having someone pushing me around, I was exhausted after half a day. This time they removed the carpets and stuff, at least it's only the normal one and it's okay. It's still not very comfortable for me, but at least it's not the worst experience I ever had. Also, talk to the guys presenting their booth down there, because I'm working currently for Red Hat and they have the worst booth down there currently because it's having a small step. So I can't reach the booth. I just need to stay in front. They have a ramp on one side. If I want to go to the other side of the booth, they would need to remove all their stuff to let me pass on the booth to the other way. It's not ideal. And it's the only booth I have seen so far which had this issue, and they are aware of me. So you see, even that happens if you know that there are people on here which have such needs. And we want to party. So if there's events in the afternoon, which are somewhere not directly at the venue, they usually organize shuttle services and stuff, but they don't know how to get a wheelchair in. So you have a big bus traveling with 50 or more people, but not only one space for a wheelchair driver. And then the bus driver is like, oh, we can put that one in the trunk, but we still don't know how to get you upstairs to the bus. And sitting in trunk is probably not an option for me. So even if you just have taken care of all the things in the venue itself, it doesn't end just at the doorstep. There's much more space around it, which is probably interesting for me, and it's good to have it prepared in some way. So, because like I'm very, let's say, easy with that, because I can walk a little and I can care myself, and I can even call a cab if I need one. But there may be other people who aren't able to do that, who cannot simply afford a cab ride for $30 just to get to the next party. So what with them? Just think about it, that it might be important to get, let's say a disabled ride to some party area, or just make the venue next to the next party area. It depends on what options you have. But it's still nice to take care about people. There was the event in Paris was, for example, the bus was one problem, but the event space itself was the biggest problem, because all the floor was cobblestones. And cobblestones and wheelchairs don't play well together. It's basically just a stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. So moving around was horrible. I'm not sure about time because we only have 10 minutes. But this is just a brief overview about issues I usually encounter on events like that. There might be much more, and of course there might be other people with other needs. Like we have friends which are having hearing problems or can see well, so they need to sit maybe much more in front of the audience to see what's going on the show, on the stage and stuff. So that's all small pieces, and OpenStack Foundation does a good work over here because they ask in front, like, do you have any special needs? Can we help you somehow? They have check marks for that, and they care. That's still very unusual for other events, so I would wish that more people take care about it. But for OpenStack Summit, I see at least they try to improve each time. And I would love to see other events to improve each time. And it's not just about me, it's about a lot of people who want to attend such events, which then think like, okay, I'm not good at walking long distances. Maybe they can offer something like a short walk path somewhere in between for the people which are not able to walk like a mile a day or have other issues. Same for like vision problems and stuff like that. Put them in front so they are able to see what's ongoing, or maybe just live broadcast stuff to their own phones, stuff like that. It's all helpful, and we have all this technology and possibilities today to make it happen. So just think about, it's not just the normal people getting over here, it's also the special ones. And I think I'm done with my time. I'm not sure, I have no clock with me. It's 10 minutes, perfect, awesome. So next will be in Berlin. I will be definitely there because I'm from Germany. That's just around the corner for me. And maybe we see each other over there and other ones having some special needs. Thanks for the audience and have a good one.